Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandra Corsi. I work in the Plant Production and Protection Division of FAO. This morning's webinar is on sustainable crop production intensification, and today's presenter is Sebastian Scott. Sebastian is a Zambian national. He is the agriculture advisor of the Zambian NGO called Grassroots, and he's a farmer. He has his own farm in Kafue, Zambia, where for more than 20 years he's experimenting with different practices and technologies that are really applicable specifically by resource poor smallholders. So he does not promote the use of expensive external inputs, and coherently, he doesn't use them on his own farm either. He uses really an ecosystems approach to sustainable crop production intensification, which is exactly what FAO promotes. Of course, also other organizations with whom we collaborate have the same understanding of sustainability, and some of them are, for example, the World Bank and also CIRAD. In fact, today, before we go to the Zambian case with Sebastian, I would like to use this slide that has been prepared by our colleagues from CIRAD to clarify what are the solutions to produce our food without compromising on climate change objectives. I know that it's a bold statement, but it's true that our life is deeply connected to the soil. More than 90% of our food comes from the soil, and a healthy soil can also capture carbon, which is fertility, while a degraded soil releases carbon as carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. In agriculture, tillage is traditionally used to prepare the soil and control weeds, and a farmer that tills the soil is seen as a good farmer. But the problem with tilled soil is that it can be blown away or washed away, so it can be lost. And no soil means no food. And countries cannot afford to lose their soil, and neither to lose its fertility. So we should really look after our soil. And a way to do that is to treat it like we would treat our guest. We should be kind to it and treat it well, not turn it upside down or break it apart. So no tillage. Instead, we should just open a slot to plant a seed and cover it up. The rooting system of the plant and the soil organisms will eventually decompact the soil. We should protect the soil. As we would offer a shelter to a guest, we should protect the soil from heavy rain, wind, excess heat, with cover crops and mulch. And we should nourish our soil. To your guests, you would not serve a bag of crisps for dinner. Maybe you would offer some for an aperitivo. And similarly, you wouldn't want to feed the soil with fertilizers only. We have to return approximately 30% of the organic matter that every year we extract with production, and we cannot think of relying on fertilizers only. We need a diversified crop rotation. So this form of agriculture, no-till, soil cover, diversified crop rotation, is called conservation agriculture. FAO promotes an ecosystem-based conservation agriculture that does not rely on herbicides and fertilizers. It uses some though, but it relies on cover crops and a diversified crop rotation. And here we go. And it is very important to stress this because too often too much emphasis is given to just no-till. And this leads to the wrong impression that because tillage is unsustainable, no-till is the sustainable fix. But this is not the case. No-till alone, without a good crop rotation, depends on fertilizers and herbicides. Or it's often thought that no-till equals to no mechanization and therefore drudgery. But no, no-till calls for access to sustainable mechanization. And this is the form of sustainable crop production intensification that the project implementing the Save and Grow approach promotes. It is a project funded by Germany, and Sebastian has been collaborating on this project for the last 2 years since we started the project in Zambia. And now we are continuing to collaborate also on the project called Climate Smart Crop and Mechanization Systems Scaling Up, which is also funded by Germany and that has just been signed this week by the Zambian Ministry of Agriculture. So the two projects are complementary. The Save and Grow focuses on production, and the Scaling Up project focuses on the linkages of production to markets. So together, these two projects really address sustainability from the environmental and the economic perspective. And they are have the objective to develop solutions that smallholders can really apply with no major investments in the short term. So without further ado, let's hear from Sebastian how the Seven Grow approach fits in the Zambian context and what it takes to transform unsustainable farmers' practices into sustainable practices that will be adopted also after the end of the project. Sebastian, the floor is yours.